Getty Images. On Saturday night, the Trump administration finally announced its plan for reuniting the 2,053 families who are still separated thanks to President Donald Trump's zero-tolerance prosecution policy. The administration will reunite children with their parents, in order to deport them both. Over weeks of chaos and confusion, it became clear that the various departments and agencies involved in family separation, chiefly the Department of Homeland Security (DHS), which handles immigration enforcement, and the Department of Health and Human Services (HHS), which takes separated kids reclassified as unaccompanied alien children into custody, were so badly coordinated that it was nearly impossible for parents and immigration attorneys to locate children. The Trump administration is promising to fix that, but only in some circumstances. Parents in immigration detention will be helped to get in touch with their children and speak to them regularly, and the Trump administration will make sure, from a reunification and removal facility in Port Isabel, Texas, that when a parent is ordered deported, her child will be sent back to their home country beside her. For parents who are trying to fight to stay in the U.S., for example by pursuing asylum claims, as they are legally entitled to do, though, this isn't much of a promise. It's a horrible choice. Either a parent can keep fighting for asylum and accept that he won't be able to see his children for the months or years his case might take, or he can give up, waive both his own rights and the rights of his child, and agree to be reunified with his child en route to the country both of them fled to begin with. DHS is telling parents they can see their children again if they stop trying to stay in the U.S. The fact sheet released Saturday night by DHS and HHS claimed that the Trump administration knows the location of all children in its custody and is working to reunite them with their families. But the process that the government has in place for reunification isn't for all families separated by the administration between May 5 and June 20, when the zero-tolerance policy separated more than 2,300 children from their parents at the border. It is solely to ensure that those adults who are subject to removal are reunited with their children for the purposes of removal. Emphasis added. There is no such assurance for parents who are fighting deportation because they are trying to claim asylum or another form of relief in the United States. What this means, in practice, is that a parent who is currently trying to pursue an asylum claim but wants to see her child as quickly as possible will have to waive two sets of rights, her own and her child's. She'll have to withdraw her own asylum case and agree to be deported instead. And she'll have to agree that her child should withdraw their own case to remain in the U.S., which is a separate case in the legal system because the child is now considered unaccompanied, in order to accompany her back to her home country. Lawyers are already seeing this at the Port Isabel facility. We have people in there who are considering not continuing on with really strong asylum claims because they think they'll get reunited with their kids faster if they give up their claim, civil rights lawyer Siren Shibaya told The Washington Post. This is a choice that some untold number of parents have already made. Even before family separations became widespread in early May, lawyers told reporters of cases where parents had felt pressured to withdraw their asylum claims so that they could be reunited with their children. And Jacob Sabaroff of MSNBC reported Sunday morning that separated parents were quickly given the option to sign paperwork leading to deportation, and that many chose to do so. We don't know how many parents were deported before President Trump signed an executive order June 20 that has resulted in an end to widespread family separation, at least for the moment, as the various agencies involved try to figure out how the heck to implement Trump's instructions. We do know that not all of the parents already deported were, in fact, deported with their children. In fact, reporters have unearthed many cases in which they were deported without their children, and even cases in which parents agreed to deportation to see their children again, only to be deported alone. Parents might have to choose between access to their children and access to lawyers. While zero tolerance was in full effect, a pile of logistical problems often made it impossible or near impossible for parents to even find out where their children were being held, much less communicate with them. Some immigrants couldn't call government hotlines for a slew of reasons. They lacked money to make the call, hotline calls went unanswered, Parents couldn't receive calls in immigration detention. A parent who was successfully able to call he